So welcome back guys to We Talk Boxing, and in this video I'm going to be talking about a fight which is set to take place on the undercard of Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois, and that sees Liam Smith take on Josh Kelly. Now this fight will be taking place at the middleweight limit, and it sees Josh Kelly pushing up in terms of weight, and obviously Liam Smith fighting at or around his natural weight in terms of 160 pounds, whereas Kelly generally fights around 154. Most likely, probably walks around a little bit heavier. So again, there's not much difference in my mind in terms of the weight difference, but what would and potentially could happen on a night is that Kelly's shots may not affect Smith as much as probably what it generally as what they generally would affect a 154-pound fighter, because again this is his first real step up in terms of class, in terms of opposition, in terms of fighting a bigger man, in terms of weight divisions. But yeah, it's a fight which intrigues me because for me it's a fight of what does Liam Smith have left to offer boxing. And the reason why I'm saying that is because in his last performance, he looked done. He looked like a shell of himself. He just didn't really look right in terms of the way he was moving, throwing his hands. He was getting caught too often. And I remember saying to a few people that I was watching a fight with at the time that it looked as if he was carrying an injury, but obviously he come out and said that he dismissed that, basically saying that there was no injury. Um, but yeah, so to me, it's this fight's all about Liam Smith and what he has left to offer. If Liam Smith still, you know what I mean, wants to pursue bigger fights, or maybe even, I don't know, contemplate a world title again, then obviously he must get past Josh Kelly, and he must do that in decent fashion. He doesn't have to go out there and stop Kelly. He doesn't have to go out there and try and knock him out, but he just has to dominate the fight. And that will kind of tell me exactly what more he's got left. And most people were probably hoping for the trilogy between himself and Chris Eubank Jr., but obviously that wasn't to be. We now know Chris Eubank Jr. is fighting in October. Um, and again, his opponent is pretty much a nobody, really. I will make a video in regards to that. But he went a different way, and obviously Liam Smith needs to keep his career going. And Josh Kelly is a good opponent. I'm not saying he's the best opponent to probably go after, but he's a good opponent. And in terms of Kelly, he's currently 15 wins, 8 KOs on his record, one loss. That loss came back. Can't remember when he fought David Evanesian. Let me just check on BoxRec. But yeah, that I remember who he lost to. It was David Evanesian, because at that time I thought that was a devastating loss, and it was a loss that potentially could ruin Josh Kelly, because he was hyped up and he was getting a lot of smoke blown up his arse at that pretty much moment in time. So by the way, that fight was back in 2021, and it was a 6 round KO loss for Josh Kelly. But yeah, I remember that fight quite clearly, and he absolutely got demolished. And it's quite crazy because from that defeat, he's obviously gone on, Kelly, and won the rest, like his next 5 fights. So he's pretty much unbeaten since that defeat. But the opposition that he's been in there with been quite poor, except a Troy Williamson. I'd say all the other guys that he's fought have been average in my mind, but the Troy Williamson was he was a decent opponent, a very tough, rugged guy who come to fight. And obviously Josh Kelly put on a masterclass performance to win the British title that night. But as I mentioned a few moments ago, when he fought David Avanesian, that was back in 2021, and I thought David Avanesian was going to go on to bigger and better things, because he then took on like a Liam Taylor, and he beat Liam Taylor. Then he fought against, I think it was a German guy, beat him, and then he stepped up. So he stepped it up way too much, because he took on Crawford next, and obviously he lost. He got stopped his 6 rounds, he got knocked out. and then he fought against the nobody Avanesian, and obviously came back not long ago against Joe Ennis, and he lost in 5 rounds. He retired on his stool. So his career's gone wayward. But that would have been a brilliant fight for Josh Kelly to try and entice someone like a Avanesian into the ring, because he's coming off what, one win in the last 3 fights, losing against two massive names, and someone like a Josh Kelly could seek revenge. So that would have been a better fight for him to have instead of a Liam Smith fight. But it's not to be, and he is fighting Liam Smith, and as I said, his record is 15-1-1. But he isn't old. He isn't old, but he isn't young at the same time. He is 30 years of age according to BoxRec, so he's no young pup, and he needs to get a move on, because for someone like a Josh Kelly, his career and the years could go by without him even claiming a version of the world title. Now, in 154-pound division, he's ranked quite nicely, to be fair, in terms of all the, well, two of the four main organisations. He's not ranked in the Ring Magazine rankings at this present moment in time, but he's ranked in the WBO, where he is number 2, and with the IBF he's number 5. So yeah, good rankings for him. He's not ranked in the other governing bodies from August, so you can't really tell a lot there. Whereas Liam Smith, 160-pound division, ranked number 7 in the Ring Magazine. And again, in terms of all the other organisations, he's currently number 5 with the WBC and not ranked currently in any of the other governing bodies. And that sometimes could possibly be down to politics in terms of money and all that sort of stuff. So I won't really take too much from there. He obviously lost in his last fight against Eubank Jr., where, as I said, he looked a shell of himself. But this fight for me is going to come down to nit and grit from Liam Smith. How much does he have left? Can he sustain pressure? Can he take punches? Because for me, Josh Kelly does have good and excellent boxing skills. When he turns up and he wants to fight Josh Kelly, he can match it with most people. Now, is Liam Smith going to be able to withstand at times an onslaught in terms of getting his head boxed? Because if he can do that, and then he could come back and really stick it on and really pull it on Josh Kelly, I think he can make Josh Kelly quit, or maybe stop him in the latter part of the fight. Because, as I said, the way Avanesian beat him, he literally kept coming forward, and he was catching him with his brilliant jab and his right hand, and he was making it really hard and awkward for Josh Kelly at that time. So if Liam Smith could adopt similar tactics, then I could only see this fight heading in one direction, and that's in terms of a Liam Smith win, maybe a late stoppage or on points. But as I said, Josh Kelly is no mug. So he could easily, if he wants to turn up and fight, he could easily put on a masterclass and box the head off Liam Smith and make it awkward for Liam Smith, in terms of just making Liam Smith not get nowhere near him. But for him to do that, Liam Smith for me has to have a really off night and a really disappointing night. But I can't see that. I can't see that happening. So my predictions for this fight is gonna go with Liam Smith. I feel, as I said earlier, late stoppage or a points victory. I just feel as if Josh Kelly probably won't have enough to keep Liam Smith away. If it's the Liam Smith of old, if it's the Liam Smith from his last fight, then it could swing either way. But you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you see this one going? Who do you consider the favourite in terms of Liam Smith and Josh Kelly? And if you know what I mean, you had to predict, how would you see it going? Would it be a points victory? Would it be a stoppage loss? Would it be a KO? But yeah, let me know. Share your thoughts. As I said, these are just my thoughts. Obviously, this is boxing. Anyone could do anything spectacular on their night. In terms of Josh Kelly could come out and absolutely catch Liam Smith and knock him out just like that. but vice versa for Liam Smith as well. He could do the same to Josh Kelly. So this is boxing. So, but these are just my thoughts of how we'll see it going. As always, please subscribe and comment. Bless.